Hello students, in this video we are going to understand about the probability in which we are going to solve the questions using the binomial distribution method. Now the question comes that when we will use the binomial distribution method. Now the binomial distribution formula in the easy way you can memorize that in a combination way means you have to select some R numbers, okay, some outcomes out of the total numbers, that is n. We know about this formula, we already have studied this formula before, times the probability of succeeding some match. Let's suppose the success can be denoted by P, times the probability of losing something. Losing something can be denoted by Q, or the formula of getting the Q is 1 minus P. What is 1? 1 is actually the total probability. The total probability is always be equals to 1 or 100%. Now what we will write on the power, if the selection of the R trials are there, so on the success you will write the R trials, and on the losing the R will be subtracted from the total number of trials. So this is how you will use the binomial formula. Now I will try to make one more video in which I will explain you in brief that how can you write these questions, how can you do these questions directly by using the graphic calculator statistics in statistics mode. Okay, but right now we will solve the questions by using this simple formula. Now if I'm saying that there is a probability of winning the match, okay, so of winning the match the probability is 1 by 3, which means that you are playing 3 matches, and out of the 3 matches you are winning 1 match. So what is the probability of losing the match? Okay, so losing the match, this is the probability of winning the match. So what is the probability of losing the match? Of course, the number of matches that you played are 3. If 1 out of 3, 1 can be win, so how many can be lost? Of course 2, because 3 minus 1 gives you 2. So I hope that you understand that how can you solve or how can you find out the Q. Try to understand this scenario by solving some of the questions. So pay attention. The question says the probability of solving the questions by the students A, B and C. So these are the students. Student 1 is A, student B, student 2 is B and student 3 is C. The probabilities of solving the questions by them is 1 by 2. Means the probability of winning, let's see here, probability of first student for winning the option, okay, for winning is how much they are saying? 1 by 2. They are also saying that probability for winning by or for solving by the second student B is 1 by 3. Similarly, they are saying the probability of winning by student C is 1 by 4. So if the winning probability or solving the questions probability is 1 by 2 by first student, so what do you think that the probability of losing or not solving the question will be? If out of 2 questions, 1 question can be solved by the first student, then how many questions he doesn't solve? Of course, 1 question. Now the student B, okay, losing means not solving the question. So out of the 3 questions, if he is able to solve 1 question, so how many questions out of the 3 he is not able to solve? Of course, 1 minus 3, that means 2 questions he cannot solve. Similarly, what is the probability of losing or not solving the question by the third student is? If one question out of 4 questions can be solved, then of course 3 questions out of 4 cannot be solved. Now the question comes, that means you knew the question, that's why you started writing the data, but we didn't know, so how do we know? So whenever they are asking you, okay, in means from the scenario, you try to find out that what they are asking us to find out. Of course, they are saying that for solving the situations, they are giving us by the students solving questions situation. So of course, there will be a situation of not solving also. So that's why I started writing my data, and the one thing which comes in my mind is the binomial distribution scenarios, because in binomial distribution one can win or one cannot win. Okay, now the question says all of them will solve the question. Okay, so find the probability so that all of them will solve the question. What does it mean that all of them solve the question? It means that the A student will, right? He is able to solve the question. Also, the student B will also solve the questions, and the student C will also solve the question. Now, when all of the students solve the question, then my work is complete. Why I am using the word work is complete? Because I have explained before that until the work is not done, you cannot put the plus in between the two events. So if the work is have to complete, so in between them you will use the multiplication sign. Okay, so what is the probability of winning by the first student is 1 over 2. Probability of solving the question by the second student is 1 over 3. And probability of solving the question by the third student is 1 over 4. Write it in the calculator and you will get the answer. Now, understand the second question. What is the probability that exactly one student will solve the question? Now, here normally the students make the mistake. Remember that whenever the probabilities questions comes and you try to understand, make the cases. What is meant by making the case? Making the case that they are saying exactly one will solve the question. How many students are there? A, B and C. It means 3 students are there, right? If one is solved, yani if one will solve the questions, then the other B and C will not solve the question. Okay, this is your first case. Work completed. Now the second case happened. What is your second case? My second case says that if the B part, yani the student of the B student, he solved the question. A and C doesn't solve the question. Similarly, there is one more case A, B and C that the student C solved the question, whereas A and B are not able to solve the question. So there are 3 scenarios according to which the exactly one student will solve the question. They didn't specify that A will solve the question, B will solve the question, or C will be able to solve the question. No, they give us the situation that one of the student will solve the question. So what will happen? Maybe A will solve, maybe B will solve, maybe C will solve. So if A will solve, B and C will not be able to solve. If B will solve, A and C will not be able to solve. And if C will solve, then A and B will not be able to solve. So now for all of them, use the condition. So A will solve. It means probability of winning by the A. It will be 1 over 2 over here. You can see it here, right? So what is the probability of the other? Because you have to write the probability of others. So probability of for the B losing the or not solving the question. So by B, probability of losing or not solving the question is 2 by 3 over here. Similarly, for the C, the probability of not solving the question is 3 by 4 plus. Now, maybe the other case is A will not solve the question. Okay, so probability of not solving the question by the A is 1 by 2. Whereas B will solve the question. Probability of solving the question by the B student is 1 by 3. And for the C, not solving the question is 3 by 4. Similarly, probability of not solving the question by A is 1 by 2. Probability of not solving the question by the B is 2 by 3. Whereas C succeeded in solving the question, the probability is 1 by 4. Write it in the calculator and get the answer. Now pause the video, try to solve the third question. Don't underestimate your abilities, number one. Number two, make the cases if you want to succeed. So pause the video, come back again, check your answer. So here the question says exactly 2 will solve the question. So again the cases. I have A, B and C student, right? So exactly 2. It means A and B solve the question. C doesn't solve the question. Work complete. Then plus. In between them we put the multiplication sign. Okay. Then plus because another work has to start. That means again we have the 3 students. Maybe A will solve the question, C will solve the question, B will not solve the question. Work complete. Another work. Again we have A, B and C. Okay. So maybe B and C solve the question and A cannot solve the question. So from the probability section, which you already have the data of the probability, write it down that what possibilities are possible. So again, for the right, I am writing the probabilities of winning. For the wrong, I will write the probability of losing. So probability of winning by the A is 1 by 2. For the B, winning is 1 by 3. For the C, losing is 3 by 4. In between them, you can see that I am putting a multiplication sign. Until my work is not completed, I put a multiplication sign. When I start the other scenario or another work, in between, I will put a positive sign. Okay, so the winning by A is 1, losing by B is 2 by 3, and winning by C is 1 by 4. Now last case, losing by the A is 1 by 2, winning by the B is 1 by 3 and winning by the C is 1 by 4. So in this way you will see that what is your answer and that's it. Next question. The probability of solving the questions by student A, B and C are given. This is the same question as we were doing before, but now the scenarios are different. None will solve the question. What is meant by none will solve the question? It means all of them will not be solving the question. It means none of them will solve the question. It means the scenario is will not solve the question. Okay, will not solve. What is will not solve? Means the first student losing, the second student will also be losing, and the probability of third student also losing. Losing means that they are not able to fulfill the situation. Okay, we already know that PA is 1 over 2 and P, that is our winning, right? And PA for losing is also 1 by 2. We already have solved these things before. Okay, so the probability of B winning is 1 by 3. Probability of B losing is 2 by 3. Similarly, probability of C winning is 1 by 4 and probability of C losing is 3 by 4. So losing, 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 which means that losing by the one is 1 by 2, by the second student is 2 by 3 and by the third student is 3 by 4. So solve it and you will get the final answer. Now, at least one will solve the solution. At least one will solve the solution. Now, if you remember, I told you in the previous videos, whenever at least one comes, you will write total probability minus no one will solve the situation. Why I am using this? Because if I will go in my cases, then it will be very long question. What does it mean? At least one solve question. It means A will solve the question, B will not solve the question, and C will also not solve the question. Or maybe A solve the question, B solve the question, C not solve the question. Or maybe A not solve the question, B solve the question, C not solve the question, and so on. So there are a lot of cases in that case, and if we will go in making a lot of cases, then of course maybe this will not lead to a correct answer, or in the middle maybe we will have, there are a lot of possibilities of making a mistake. So remember that whenever at least one scenario comes, you have to make the total probability minus none of that situation happen. It means at least one will solve the question. You will say no one will solve the question. I just told you that the total probability is either 1 or 100%. So 1 take it. No one will solve the question. No one will solve the question, which means A will not solve the question, B will not solve the question, and C will also not solve the question. So probability of not solving the question by the A is 1 by 2, by the B is 2 by 3, and by the C is 3 by 4. Until the work is not done, we put the multiplication sign in between the probabilities. Find out the answer. Now try to solve the last option yourself without my help. Make the cases and try to do it. At least two will solve the question. Okay, how at least two will solve the question? It means two will solve the question. Yani two, let's make it A student, B student, C student. Okay, two will solve the question. It means one will not solve the question. B and C solve the question. Okay, then what else we can have? What else we can have? Maybe A and B solve the question. C will not solve the question. What else we have the scenario? We have maybe A and C solve the question. B will not solve the question. Now this is our one scenario. At least two will solve the question. So maybe there is a possibility that all will solve the questions, right? Means A, B and C all will solve the question. So either there is a case that two will solve the question or all will solve the question. So over here just put the probabilities. So Probability of not solving the question is 1 by 2. 1 by 2. Probability of solving is 1 by 3. Solving by the C is 1 by 3. Probability of A solving 1 by 2. B solving 1 by 3. C not solving 3 by 4. A solving 1 by 2. B not solving 2 by 3. And C solving is 1 by 4. Plus A solving 1 by 2. B solving 1 by 3 and C solving 1 by 4. You will add all the situations and you will get the answer. So I hope that after this question, most of the things are clear to you. Now here let's try to understand this question and try to differentiate this question from our previously done question. And try to understand, are we going to use the binomial distribution formula or not? So on a multiple choice test, okay, there are 3 questions. So we will have 3 main questions and there are 4 choices. It means for one question, for each question, how many choices are there? There are 4 choices. Choice A, choice B, choice C, choice D. Okay. So there are 2 situations given to you. The first situation is that in a question paper, there are 3 questions. And other thing is, from this question, about this question, there is one more scenario given to you. That each question have 4 options. So understood? So here you have two different situations. In the previously done question, there was only one situation that either you will succeed or you will lose. You solve the question or you do not solve the question. But here they are not saying anything till now. They are saying there are 3 questions in a question paper and for each question there are 4 possible multiple choice questions. Okay. Now read more. A student randomly select answers. Yani he is solving the 3 questions. For all the 3 questions, from the 4 given choices, he is randomly selecting your answers. So for each of the 3 questions, okay, so he did the 3 questions. Yani question number 1, he select one answer. Question number 2, he selected another answer. Question number 3, he selected another answer. What they are asking you, find the probability that the student chooses one correct answer. It means you have to first of all see that out of the 3 questions, how many correct answers he chose? Out of means from the first situation, out of 3 questions, he selected one correct answer. This is the first scenario. So now when the 2 situations are given to you, you will use the formula of the binomial distribution, that is NCR, success with the power R, lose, probability of losing, N minus R. So here how you will apply this formula. How many questions are there in the question paper? 3 questions. Total 3 questions. How many he gave the correct answer? One answer he gave correctly. So R is 1. Now what is the probability of success? It means probability of choosing the correct answer. Now probability of choosing the correct answer, of course if there are 4 options, so one option is correct. So 1 out of 4 is the correct answer. So what is the probability of choosing the wrong answer? Wrong answer, of course 4 minus 1 is 3 by 4. So here your P Your P is 1 by 4 and your Q is 3 by 4. So in place of P, you will write 1 by 4. In place of Q, you will write 3 over 3 by 4. Now what is R? This is the 1 is your R. So 1 over here, and on the losing, from the total minus the 1. So 3 minus 1 gives you 2. Now we know that how can we put this all in the calculator. In the calculator, if you are using the scientific calculator, if you put the shift divide, you will get the C. Before the C, write down the 3. After the C, write down the 1. Then multiplying 1 by 4 whole to the power of 1 and times 3 by 4 whole to the power of 2. Write it down in the calculator and you will get your final answer. Next question. A test contains 10 multiple choice questions comprising of 4 options. Means first of all, you have 10 questions, right? And for the 10 questions, again you have 4 options. For every question, you have 4 options. Okay, in which one option is correct. One option is correct means the probability of getting the correct answer is 1 by 4. So probability of not correct answer is what? It is 3 by 4. Why? 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay. Find the probability that a candidate can guess 7 out of 10 questions. So your N is total number of the questions, that is 10, and there is a possibility that he can guess 7 questions out of 10 questions. So putting this thing in the formula, NCR P to the power of R Q to the power of 1 N minus R will give you their binomial distribution answer. That means you will write 10 C 7 times your probability of winning is 1 by 4 to the power of R. This R is same. Probability of losing or not solving the question or not guessing the question is 3 by 4. And from the total minus the 7, 10 minus 7 gives you 3. Write it in the calculator, get the answer. My task is not to write the answer or waste your time by writing it in the calculator. You just write it down correct in the correct manner in the calculator and you know that how to get the correct answer. The probability that a patient will be cured of coronavirus when injected with the new vaccine is 0.8. Find the probability that exactly 3 out of 8 coronavirus patients will be cured on being injected with the vaccine. So, probability of winning is what? 0.8, right? Probability of losing is what? Now we know that the total probability is 1. So 1 minus 0.8, it will gives you 0.2. Okay. So in order to get Q, the answer is 1 minus P, which will gives you 1 minus 0.8. So you will get 0.2. That means not getting cured. Okay. So there are 8 virus patients. Out of this, exactly 3 were cured. Okay. So you have the situation that out of 8 patients, 3 were cured. Probability of getting cured is 0.8. Probability of losing or not getting cured is 0.2. Whatever we write here, we write the same number over here. Then from the 8, we minus the 3. So 8 minus 3 gives us 5. We will write over here. Next question. If a seed is planted, it has 75% chances of growing. 75% means 75 divided by 100, which means 0.75. What is this? This is the probability of winning or probability of growing the healthy plant. Now, there is another situation that 6 seeds are planted. So, if 6 seeds are planted, what is the probability that 2 do not grow? So, probability of not growing you need. Okay, now understand the probability of 2 do not grow. Okay, so 2 do not grow means out of the 6, 2 are not growing. So if 2 are not growing, understand that by reading our question, seed is planted and 75% chances of growing a healthy plant. We said that 1 minus 0.75, that will give us 0.25. But here the question is asking us that winning means not growing. Winning means not growing. And losing means that means Q. Losing means growing. Understand why I wrote it or change my scenarios? I changed it. The reason is they are here. R means not growing. So if not growing here, so I will have my winning chances of not growing, and the Q means the growing, means opposite I will see. So here are the 2 I will write here, and 6 minus 2 will give me Q. I will write over here 4. So 6C2, probability of not growing is 0.25 to the power of 2, and growing is 0.75 to the power of 4. Now what the students say, what the students do over here, the students do that they says that, oh wow, the 75% are chances are for growing, so they will just write the not growing, they change the things, they do not see that what the question is asking actually. So by writing the R, you have to understand the scenarios of P and Q. The P scenario is same as the scenario of the R. Now, a basketball player has a 60% chance of making each free throw. So, probability of winning is 60%, right? That means 0.6. Why 0.6? Because 60 divided by 100. Whenever the percent comes, 60%, you write the 60 as it is. Percent means divide by 100. What is the probability that the player makes exactly 3 throws, exactly 3 out of 6 free throws? So there is a situation of the winning and losing. Means either he will make the free throw or he will lose the free throw. Right? So in this case, there is one situation that they are asking you that out of the 6 free throws, choose that the player exactly 3 throws. Right? Now, choosing or winning the throws is 60%. And losing the throws is 40%. Why 40%? Because Q means 1 minus P, which means 1 minus P is 0.6. So 0.6, it will gives you 0.4. Or I can do this calculation in my head that total percent is 100, right? 60% is winning. So how many left? Of course, 40% left. And 40% means 40 divided by 100. If I put here 0, so 0 point here I have to shift 2 zeros on the left hand side. So it becomes 0.40. Okay, now this 3 will come over here. And 6 minus 3 gives me 3. It will be on this side. Next question. A hotel has 4 elevators. Now try to understand this question. There is a hotel and in that hotel there are 4 elevators. Okay. One of them is the freight elevator. So maybe this is the freight elevator or this one or this one or this one. Means on which you can take the load. Okay. When pressing the button, one of the elevators randomly services your flow. So one of them come towards you. If you use the elevator 7 times, okay, what is the probability that you use the freight elevator exactly 4 times? So understand that there are two scenarios, okay? The scenario number 1 is that you are using the elevator 7 times. And out of the 7 times, there is a possibility that 4 times the freight elevator come to you. Okay, so we will use our binomial situation. Then see, 7 times you are using the elevator, and out of the 7 times, there are 4 times possibility that freight elevator is coming towards you. Okay, now what is P, what is Q? P means that the freight elevator is coming to you, and Q means that the freight elevator is not coming towards you. Now we have 4 elevators, okay, and one of them is the freight elevator, okay. So it means the probability of having the freight is 1 out of 4 elevators, and probability of not having the freight elevator is 4 minus 1, that is 3 out of 4. So in place of P, you will write 1 over 4. In place of Q, you will write 3 over 4. Now this 4, the power on the freight, on the P value, and then 7 minus 4 gives you 3. It will come over here. Write it in the calculator and get your final answer.